Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dr. Patmos, and it is quite late on October the 9th, 2025. And I have a video for you where we're going to take a look at Dr. Casey Means, who is currently the candidate, the nominee to become the next United States Surgeon General. I haven't had the opportunity to review Dr. Means' credentials, and experience, and resume and so forth before. I did that actually for the first time today, and it's quite interesting, and I think there's an interesting story to be told here. The reason why is the position of United States Surgeon General is extremely important. The Surgeon General is helps educate the public and is a champion and advocate for uh, public health issues of significance. Surgeon generals are typically highly trained, highly credentialed, elite physicians from high level academic backgrounds. And they have taken on such issues as smoking. It was, I believe, Dr. C. Everett Koop, famous United States Surgeon General, who really championed not smoking and kind of basically brought an end to smoking in the United States. And there are many other great Surgeon Generals who've really been important in the history of healthcare in the United States. Recently, six former Surgeon Generals wrote a letter that was published, or wrote a column, an editorial that was published in the Washington Post, highly critical of Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy. And so that's kind of how I got interested in this topic. So I was reading about who Kennedy has proposed as the next U.S. Surgeon General, and it's a very interesting story. If you look in the text below, I've got some links to the Washington Post article and a bunch of other documentation from an AI-enabled search and query about Dr. Casey Means. Dr. Means is a physician licensed in Oregon with an inactive license, and she will almost certainly be the next U.S. Surgeon General. It's a legitimate question to ask. Is she qualified? What are her qualifications, and is she qualified for this role? So here's what I have found out reviewing Dr. Means' credentials. She's got fantastic educational background, private schools in the Washington, D.C. area, excellent undergraduate education. She's obviously very, very intelligent. She went to Stanford Medical School, won various awards, did a surgical internship, and then went on to OHSU, the Oregon Health Sciences University in Portland, where I was for a time a clinical assistant professor from 2000, I think, 3 to 2005. In any case, she was on the she was a ENT, ear, nose, and throat, or otolaryngology resident at OHSU, and did ENT is a 5-year residency. You get 1 year of internship and then 4 years of residency in ENT. She did 3.5 years at OHSU and then abruptly quit just before the end of her residency, which was very peculiar. She said that she just lost interest in medicine and that it wasn't, she didn't enjoy the surgery and she just didn't want to do that kind of medicine anymore. So she quit just before the end of her ENT residency and went on to lifestyle and functional medicine. That doesn't pass the sniff test for me. The hardest part of becoming a surgeon is the first year, the internship year, and it's pretty brutal and gets better after that. It's very odd to me that someone would go 4.5 years and quit with light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, even if she didn't like ENT and didn't want to be an ENT, all she had to do was a few more months and she would have been board eligible and presumably passed her boards and would have been a board eligible, board certified ENT physician. By quitting with right at the just before the finish line, she gets to spend the rest of her career as a non-board certified, non-board eligible physician who never finished her training. So I think that's an important thing is Dr. Means is a incompletely trained doctor. She didn't finish her residency. She's not board eligible, not board certified, and she really has no clinical experience beyond being an intern and a resident. So she doesn't really have that breadth of experience as a clinician. She also doesn't have the breadth of experience as an academic in terms of teaching research, publications, and so forth. So I find that interesting, and it just doesn't. I just don't buy the argument that she quit because she just didn't like it anymore. I would think most people would just finish it out, get the boards, and then go do what you're going to do anyway. It just doesn't pass the sniff test. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. So, what did Dr. Means do after she left her residency? Well, it wasn't too long before she got involved, and she apparently says that she started a company with her brother called TrueMed. And TrueMed.com, you can look at their website, is in existence today. TrueMed is a very interesting privately held company with an interesting business model. And Dr. Means, the potential United States Surgeon General, is knee deep involved with TrueMed. She may not have an active role at this point. She will have to, you know, distance herself from the company, but it's a company that she claims that she founded. Certainly, she had a very significant role in its early development. So, what is TrueMed? TrueMed is a company with a very interesting business model. They provide products and services for people to purchase through their health savings account and flexible spending accounts. And they have things such as red light therapy, spas, cold plunges, beds, mattresses, shoes, sneakers, running shoes, um, vitamins, supplements, and even um, things like continuous glucose monitors and other wearable devices. Now, the intent of the HSA and FSA laws was to reimburse for bona fide medical expenses. Over time, it's been broadened a little bit, but it's still the intent of the HSA and FSA, which are tax deferred um, uh, vehicles, are to pay for medical expenses. TrueMed has a lot of products and services that are of no real proven value as medical therapies. You know, I mean, who can, no can, I'm certainly not arguing that exercise isn't a good thing and having a nice pair of sneakers is a good thing. But for example, continuous glucose monitors, there's really no evidence that they're of any use to a non diabetic. And so what TrueMed does is they get you a letter of medical necessity, which they provide on their, I guess they have a telemedicine service. They provide a letter of medical necessity, and then you can use that to get your HSA or FSA to pay for the products and services they sell. Personally, I think this is a little questionable. I don't think it quite fits with the intent of the HSA and FSA laws, and I think it's a way to tap into those funds, which are tax protected funds, to pay for things that aren't really medical treatments. So I think it's interesting that the next Surgeon General, almost surgeon, didn't finish her training, general, has this interesting connection to a company that I think requires some additional investigation as to whether or not this is truly above board. You know, is their model actually really legit? Is this what an FSA and HSA is for, or are they basically, have they found a very creative way to sell durable medical equipment and other things that are of questionable, aren't really, you know, medical treatments, and get reimbursed for it? So that makes sense. Now I can see why someone would leave their residency, because this kind of business model could be really lucrative and might make a lot more money owning TrueMed or being an investor in TrueMed than being an ENT surgeon. So anyhow, I think these are the kinds of questions that hopefully will come up during the congressional vetting process for Dr. Means, but she doesn't have the kind of background that I would expect a Surgeon General to have, and I am very concerned that her orientation is highly entrepreneurial and highly commercialized to the wellness, lifestyle, functional medicine thing, basically selling vitamins and red light therapy. You know, that's a little too fringy for me, and I think it's just a little questionable that this company provides letters of medical necessity for these devices. This needs to be further investigated before she should be confirmed as the next United States Surgeon General. I hope you found that interesting, and have a good evening.